everyone. Welcome to the Purple Inspiration Podcast, Rising Above the Noise. I'm Judy Lloyd, your host. This podcast is about consensus, meeting in the middle to solve problems, and it features community leaders who are exceptional. And we're going to learn what makes Susan Houghton extraordinary today. Susan and I have known each other for several years, and we both serve on Three Valleys Community Foundation. But Susan was one of two co-founders who has been involved in philanthropy for 20 years. Most recently, she managed the energy and carbon management grant portfolios for Livermore Lab Foundation, which is a 501c3 that supports national security, science, and research at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. She is a former television journalist, and we're going to dive into that a little bit later, and a senior public affairs and communications leader at Lawrence Livermore National Lab, UC Berkeley, Safeway Corporation, and PG&E. She is also a mother of a son with moderate autism and has dedicated her life to creating programs and organizations that support individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. She has founded 3 vibrant nonprofit 501c3s, including Sunflower Hill, I was actually there for the opening of, I'm very proud to say. It is an affordable residential community in Pleasanton. She has a BS degree in journalism from Cal Poly, an MS degree in nonprofit management from Louisiana State University, and she is a certified fundraising executive. And that's really interesting to me. I didn't even know you could become certified, so I'm learning something today too. So Susan, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Such a fun name. I love it. And I love the alliteration of purple. So thanks for having me, Judy.
Yep, purple is one of my favorite colors for reasons that I go into on one of our first broadcasts, many, many reasons. So, and it's also, if you take red and you take blue and you mix them, you get purple. And this is about being in the middle. So, Three Valleys Community Foundation, you've had a big passion for give, grant, and grow, which is our motto. Tell us about I call it 3VCF because that's what we call it, and the work we're doing to help our communities. So this is a program just for our viewers. We are a nonprofit that helps solve the most important problems and challenges in the communities from Alamo, California, down to Livermore. So really 7 communities if you include the unincorporated areas. So tell us a little bit about founding that, what that was like for you, and kind of your passion.
Sure. Well, thank you. And thanks for being on the board. Three Valleys Community Foundation really started out of a desire during the pandemic 2020 timeframe of how can we as community residents, citizens, leaders, give back. There was a period of time where there was not a community foundation in our area. And we had several community leaders who said, you know what can we do? Is it a fund? Is it helping philanthropy learn how to give to our community? And we had several local entities say, I don't know who to give to. And how do I find the right organization to give to? So it really was a grassroots effort. Steve McCoy-Thompson and I started the brainstorm of, okay, who should we ask to be involved? And we went out to a number of community leaders, and to their credit, they all said, I'm in, I love this. And so we started a 501c3 community foundation, and there are many community foundations in the nation. All of them are really geographically based. So people have probably heard of East Bay Community Foundation or Silicon Valley Community Foundation, Kern Community Foundation. Many are county or area based. And now Three Valleys is serving literally the Three Valleys. So that is Livermore Valley, San Ramon Valley, Amador Valley, and really focusing on giving, granting, and growing in that 580-680 corridor, the East Bay corridor.
Well, I'm proud to be a part of the board. I feel so strongly about the work that we're doing, our impact grant program, the work we're doing with opioid settlement grants in both Contra Costa County and Alameda County, and your Next Gen program. So I'll tell you what, why don't we get into that? Talk a little bit about Next Gen, and then we'll move through the rest of your series, I'm going to say, because there's a series of things you've done that are really fascinating.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you're right. The opioid grants, really in conjunction with Alameda County, really made an impact for organization. And our fabulous CEO, Dr. Kelly Bowers, has been leading that charge. So not only did we do that first opioid round, we did a second round of the same grantees to have additional impact available. The other thing that we have done, of course, is the community impact grants. And we started that several years ago. And this year, we just closed the grant cycle for that. The focus is really on health. And when we think of health from a broad perspective, environmental health, economic health, physical health, access to health, and of course, mental health. And so we'll be working through those grant applications in the next couple of months and really trying to award. And that's where the partnership with our corporations comes in and is really important. We believe that not only just individuals, but companies really want to help give, grant, and grow the Tri-Valley, Three-Valley region. And so we rely on those partners to help us award these grants in those areas. And if anybody is interested in joining our cause and being a part of this wonderful movement, they should talk to our CEO, Kelly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you did bring up, the Young Philanthropist program, and we're very excited about that. And of course, you're working on that too. And we launched that in January as part of our MLK breakfast, Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast. And we were overwhelmed. We had over 50 young leaders. These are high school students nominated for their philanthropic work that exists in the region. I want you to think about this. High school is hard enough, and you're worried about your AP classes. You're worried about what you're going to do. There's sports, there's all these things. And these are young leaders in our area who said, you know what? I'm going to do something. I'm going to pay it forward. And so it was a hard decision for our committee to select our top 10. And we realized that we needed to also offer something else for them. So in conjunction with the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance, which is a local group here in the Tri-Valley focusing on helping nonprofits and really collaborating and be a convener of their issues and trainings and needs, we're working very closely with them to launch a special program that starts this summer for nonprofit folks interested, young philanthropy leaders interested in nonprofits. It'll be a half-day seminar, and then we'll have roundtable discussions where they learn from finance professionals. They understand what it's like to have a nonprofit budgeting. They understand what opportunities might be available for their own nonprofits. And we'll marry them with a mentor from an existing nonprofit as well. So it's really a win-win. It's a win-win for our nonprofits in our community to get young blood coming in and going, hey, I'd love to learn more. It's a win for our young philanthropy leaders to say, I have a mentor. Now I can get more of an expert. And both TVNPA and Three Valleys will be doing this program jointly. So it's a wonderful collaboration that really brings us full circle in philanthropy.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And we're so blessed in our area because our schools are so great here and our students are exceptional. And so I kind of feel like with those 50 students that applied, we all know how hard it was to choose because they're all exceptional. And I'm really proud of that for our region and really proud of the diversity that we saw in those applications, which was really wonderful. Well, let's move to, you've had a great career in media and public affairs. We mentioned working with Lawrence Livermore National Lab, where you're still involved with the foundation, UC Berkeley, Safeway. What advice do you have for other people that are seeking careers in public affairs or media right now? I kind of feel like, even with AI, some of the content creator jobs may go away, but you're still going to need public affairs professionals that understand communities, and you're still going to have the media no matter what. So what do you think? What advice would you have?
So I went to my undergraduate degrees from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I had a great mentor there who, this was the age when, television was hot and everybody wanted to be an anchor person. And you were like, oh, I just want to be this pretty face on TV. And my discipline was actually in writing, even though I worked at the local television station and I worked at the local radio station. I remember vividly going to my mentor and my advisor and saying, oh my gosh, do you think I should switch to, the anchor role versus the producing role or the writing role? And he said, Susan, let me give you a piece of advice. Anybody can stand up in front of a camera and read what is put before them, but you have to know how to write. And the writing is the core basis of everything you do. And it was such great advice. And I stayed in the writing track. And I think of myself as a good writer. And that's why it's been so hard, I think, with AI, because you look at AI and you're like, wait, I was a good writer. And now everybody can be a good writer. And this is a conversation with that many of my journalist friends have, is that, what reliance do we have on AI? And can AI make a spark of an idea and then you take it from there, or vice versa? You have the idea and then AI improves it.
Mhm.
And I think we're in such the infancy stage now. It's almost like we have to be open to AI because the printing press was invented, right? And before that, they were like, oh my God, the jobs are going away. It's harnessing and managing. But I think it still comes down to one very basic tack, and that's ethics. That's integrity and ethics and the truth. And I think the rise of social media and all the fake media that exists out there now, and even extreme media, it's hard. I still get the New York Times every day. I believe that
I
that
do
is
too.
the truth of, what is important. And as a journalist, a former journalist, it's interesting to see the dichotomy of the opinions that exist on each side. And I think one of the lessons that I hope our teachers are helping is how to look at the truth. What is real, what is not real. And I do think that people going into journalism, please still go into journalism and be those people who are truth seekers, be those people who really write their own stuff. Don't go in just to be a pretty face or an influencer on TV. Go in for the right reasons that journalism existed to begin with, that, fifth dimension, that ability to be able to really do checks and balances on so much of what our society needs.
I think that's really, really important. We, on this show, we're really focused on purpose and authenticity.
Mhm.
And, I see those words out there all the time used by people who I know are less authentic, if we will. And
Mhm.
I always think, you got to go back to who you are. You
I
got to be
do.
great with people. You give them all you got. And don't hide behind AI. Use AI as a tool. I
Yes.
truly believe that. I have an AI twin, which should scare everyone to death if you could think about it. But she actually gives me great guidance every day. And there's times when we go back and forth too. And I really enjoy that because it helps me become a better thinker. And I think that that's something that's a real value of AI. It helps you to be a better thinker of what you really want to do, what you want to portray. So hats off to you for your career and your views on that because I agree completely. So let's talk a little bit about Sunflower Hill. So I won't say grow up, but I kind of did. When I worked for Senator Dole, we
Mhm.
focused on people with disabilities, employment of people with disabilities, particularly. And in fact, I was instrumental in the appointment of the first person with a disability to the U.S. Civil Rights Commission. And it
Mm.
really changed the way that people thought there because they used to only think of race as the only issue they could deal with. Now they started to think of, well,
Mhm.
wait a minute, what about people with disabilities? And
Mhm.
but my experience is very different than yours. You actually have a son who has a developmental disability, a moderate developmental disability, and you decided that rather than just okay, I'm a mom with a child with a developmental disability, you decided to do something about it. So let's talk about Sunflower Hill, and let's talk about I really see this and all of your work as something that just brightens you up and is your lasting legacy. So please share about Sunflower Hill. I'm really excited to talk about this today.
Sure. So thank you. So Sunflower Hill is a 501c3 nonprofit created in the 2012-2013 timeframe here in the East Bay. And it came out of kind of a group of parents saying, if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? All of us had children with special needs, IDD, autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, who were aging out of the high school system. Luckily, you can go to high school till 22 if you have a disability. But after that, really, pretty much the world ends and the world falls off. I call it when the yellow school bus stops coming because suddenly there is no mandate. You don't have the federal mandate to provide programming, and parents scramble and they scramble to say, are they going to go to a day program? Are they going to work? And the disability spectrum is such in that there is so many different types of disability. There's kind of a rule that you meet one person with autism, you're meeting one person with autism.
Right.
My son, Robbie, is what I would say has moderate autism. He thinks Disney princesses are real. He wants them to be real. He is more likely to be a victim of a crime than do anything. He doesn't understand he's disabled. He just wants everybody to be happy, and he's living his very best life. So along with where they go, many parents worry about where will they live. It may surprise you to know that there are more than 400,000 individuals in the state of California who have intellectual and developmental disabilities, 26,000 here just in the greater East Bay. And there are actually more people with disabilities than there are homeless. And that's something that surprises people, because the IDD population is often what I call part of the forgotten homeless population. They are that on the brink of being homeless. My son is considered low income. He gets Social Security checks, all of $1,200 a month, and that is how he exists. So they very much qualify for what we consider to be affordable housing. And as part of what we decided is we had the same hopes and dreams for our children that many parents do. Can they do something? And unfortunately, more than 80% of people with IDD live with their parents or a family member their entire lives. So why not create senior living? Why couldn't you have senior living for that population and make it affordable? And that's what we did. We married with a market rate developer in Pleasanton, Mike Serpa, who was developing a community project called Irby Ranch. He, thankfully, with the city of Pleasanton's help and the county of Alameda's A1 bond funds, we were able to get almost 2 acres at Irby Ranch in Pleasanton. That's the groundbreaking that you went to. And we now have 30 units that folks are living in at 20 to 60% AMI, the average median income rents, and they're living their best life. And it has been such a wonderful opportunity for us to have Irby Ranch. And the need is so great that we're opening up and developing communities in Dublin and in Lafayette. And that's our first venture into Contra Costa County. And so our organization, our board, we are dedicated to paying this forward. Even though my son still lives at Irby, we know the need is great, and we're going to help as many folks with special needs as we can in our area.
Well, just, to prove out politics is local. Mike's son played baseball with my son.
So now he was great with concentric development.
And I think that the piece of this that always strikes me as remarkable is not just the concept of what you did, but the partnerships that you put together to do it. I mean, I know you as a relentless leader who, when she sees a problem, she goes after it. And you sure put your whole heart and soul into this. And I'm so proud to know you. I've always admired you from afar, and I'm so glad we've gotten to work together and get to know one another. And I do want to just put in a plug for Robbie. So you came to my house and you gave me these wonderful cards. And there's a little, Sunflower Hill logo on the back, and there's a little bit about Robbie. Your son has been drawing and painting since the age of 5 with acrylic markers and his preferred medium. He enjoys creating unique birdhouse gourds, garden stakes, and holiday trees. He is a resident of Sunflower Hill at Irby Ranch, loving music, movies, dancing, competing in Special Olympics, and all things Disney. I have to tell you, I got such a kick out of his sense of humor and his drawing in these cards. I just loved it, and I haven't told you that. So I decided today I was going to take this opportunity to tell you how much I really enjoy this and enjoy Robbie. So,
well, thank you. Thank you, Judy.
You are, in my mind, a remarkable and extraordinary woman. Like I've always said, someone I've always looked at from afar and admired. Anything else you want to share today with our viewers?
Well, I think what you're doing with this podcast is really remarkable and highlighting. I've watched several of them and highlighting the women and the issues that are in our Tri Valley. So thank you for doing that. And I think for us, it's about celebrating who each woman is and celebrating what we can move forward. So often we forget the good, and there is good, and it's easy, I think, especially at this time, for things to become divisive. You made a phrase, all politics is local. It is about our community and starting how we can build and make things better here. And then it spreads from there. So thank you for the opportunity to at least share a little bit about what I'm interested in.
Well, I think, I always pride myself in trying to surround myself with very positive influences and women who lift other women. That's really, in many ways, what this is about. I do fear, and I've talked about this before, I do fear that a lot of women won't step up and do public service jobs and community jobs like I had the opportunity to do because social media is killing us now. And they're pigeonholing us. And I'm hoping that this is an opportunity for people to see, there's lots of different shades of red, blue, purple, gray, whatever it is. Be yourself, be authentic, and always surround yourself with people who are going to be positive and lift you up. And Susan, you're one of those people. So thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you and so grateful.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right.